Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the SuperNova Astrology Update for September 25th through 30th, 2024. Wow, do you feel it? We have really made a shift. It's almost like we finally made that leap into that more optimal timeline. There's a feeling of magic in the air and yet a hesitancy. And sometimes when energies start to shift for the better, it actually gives us an opportunity to grieve how difficult it's been. So, the main message right now from Mother is that we need to learn to allow. It's difficult when we've been so manipulated. And yet, everything right now in this time is coming back to the feminine, the divine feminine, coming back to the flow, coming back to the receiving, coming back to the responding to ourselves, to other people. And this is a really beautiful thing. So, what we've been feeling is the sun on the 21st came into opposition with Neptune, making that kite shape in the sky. So, the kite shape is made up of the opposition of the sun and Neptune, and then Mercury will be coming in to make this opposition today and tomorrow. So what's happening is that this creates a kite shape because Neptune at the top of the kite is in sextile to Uranus and Taurus and Pluto and Capricorn. So the body of this kite is a Grand Earth Trine, really powerful message for us that yes, we are ascending. Earth is ascending and we get to go with her. So it's a picture of the earth, our physical form, taking flight. And so Mercury will be making this opposition with Neptune on the 25th and the 26th. And that we'll feel that for the next few days. And so this is where we have to look at where we're ready or not ready to come out of resistance in our life. This is the main message from her. How can we allow the blessings, the miracles, the new and different story to come in? And say yes to this new timeline and to this new energy. This last equinox weekend, we had a fundamental shift in the energy on Earth. It was a decisive winning back of the Earth for human spiritual evolution. It's very exciting, and we all have to get situated and comfortable onto this new timeline. But the message is that now that we've taken a stand, nothing can stop our evolution anymore. Nothing can stop us waking up to who we really are. So with Pluto back in Capricorn at 29 degrees, that's a big part of this kite shape and the sextile with Neptune and Pluto. Neptune and Pluto are 1 degree out of sextile through the 10th of October. And this is what's so cool. I'm so proud of Supernova Souls for being conscious and aware, because I feel like we really used the energy of this sextile and this kite shape to our advantage. We really took advantage of this powerful time to establish through the Supernova Souls gathering together, connecting all over the World Water Festival, bringing our love and prayers together, unifying our hearts and unifying our prayers, a decisive victory for Mother Earth. And so now we have to figure out what that means for us. Can we stand on this new timeline? Can we say yes? Can we learn to trust? Can we open our hearts again? I'm incredibly impressed with the health of Supernova Souls from working directly with a group of Supernova Souls this weekend. I was just really blown away by the level of personal work each of these Supernova Souls have done. And the health, the evidence of health that I saw was a non-judgmental, compassionate understanding for each other. Isn't this beautiful? Everything we've gone through is just brought us to the place where we can really be there for humanity as they wake up. And we move into the next phase for us, the co-creation, the celebration, the coming together. And nothing can stop us. Now, but let's talk about this Pluto and Capricorn, because this is a lot of the energies we've been feeling. It's a foreboding feeling of having to go face where we know that Pluto is the destroyer, and it's about transformation, and it's in the sign of Capricorn, which is about structures and authority structures. And these authority structures are at the 29-degree mark where Pluto is. This is a bloom of these authority structures and the facing down. So what this last little hit of Pluto for just 2 months at the end degrees of Capricorn is really about is us taking our stand and claiming back our autonomy and our authority. And we've been talking about this, and we've been doing clearing after clearing of contractual arrangements and finding our permission, finding our self-worth. That's the dynamic energy that Uranus and Taurus is bringing. Uranus and Taurus is at 27 degrees, and so in trine to Pluto and Capricorn, and Mercury, so the sun that just went through this kite, and now Mercury going through this kite. That's that Grand Earth Trine. So we're looking at this structures of authority that have held humanity back, limiting structures of false authority that is totalitarianism and control energies, and they're breaking down. And then on the other side of the kite, we've got Uranus and Taurus. This is about our self-worth, permission, and just havingness for the blessings, and particularly our inheritance, which has come to, we're coming to understand that our spiritual inheritance is about coming into our higher faculties, taking back the higher technology that's been stolen from us. So there's kind of an interesting energy coming through around this Pluto back in Capricorn, and it's saying that the message from the mother is kind of like, it's something around, if we are going to take back control of our destiny and our spiritual advancement, we have to overcome those structures of control. And so we've been examining this again and again, and looking at where we might have loyalties or where we have been giving our energy away, and like, how do we break these contracts? And a lot of times we got the message that we can break authority contracts through our relationships with narcissists that we've all had to deal with. That's actually where we find these like galactic level authority contracts. But the energy here is that we know that there's positive help available for us, but in this free will universe, we know we also have to win our freedom. It cannot be given to us. And so as we're talking about taking our own authority, there's an energy of being able to access these higher intuitive gifts. Now, the accessing of these higher intuitive gifts allows us to see beyond and live beyond and outside of the lower matrix realities. And so there's a very kind of uncomfortable but very truthful, powerful energy coming forward that it's like we cannot be given this freedom and this permission to our higher faculties. We have to take it. We have to demonstrate it. We ourselves have to see from the other side of those helpers that really want to help us. The helpers that are manipulating us are telling us they want to help us. And they're saying, we're the Galactic Federation. We're helping you. We're doing all this. And there's all these wars. And it's like, no. The war's right here in our consciousness, cell by cell. And we're claiming back our body, moment by moment, the mother's body. Her body is our body. We claim back our body. We claim back her body. And this is what these prayers for the water are about. Detoxifying, purifying, transmuting, making the waters healthy again, talking to the waters. And this is what we're doing. And it's so powerful because this weekend we talked to the waters all over the earth in ceremony. We talked to the waters, connecting to all of the people at the World Water Festival in person in Aso, Japan. And so this is where we win. But there's this another level of winning our freedom. And that means we've got to see things from the other side of the veil. The message is that those helpers that are actually helpers that are going by the prime directive, which is the free will universe, the non-interference, they will not interfere until we access that level of consciousness. And we're right there. But we have felt so alone and so abandoned, and we're like climbing our way back. But this is the thing, is that authority cannot be given to you. You must take it. And somehow this energy of releasing ourselves out of the programming and into our higher faculties, that is how we actually take back our power. So much of this year has been about facing our fears around being the bigger truth, the bigger self that we are. And that's everything we're talking about. Because if we're going to say, hey, I know I have greater faculties. I know they've been hidden from me, stolen from me, manipulated from me, but I must win them back. I must take them back. I must feel full confidence. And it's a very strange energy, because in order to really push through this final threshold, we've got to be really clear and really balanced around our power. We've got to be really ready to own the fact that we are that powerful, and the responsibility that comes with it. That's why we're called to align with Mother Earth, the great mother, the goddess, great goddess, Mother Earth, our loving mother, a manifest, living, breathing goddess that we get to walk upon. When we are in alignment and co-creating, when we're in this juicy creative connection and love, walking around in a pool of her love, then we cannot miscreate. So the only way we're going to step back into our co-creator status and power is to come fully into alignment with Mother. It's her ascension. And so we are claiming this back and standing up. And this is for each of us individually, going back through lifetimes. What we found in the intuitive session this weekend was literal contractual arrangements and belief systems and agreements within our own being to stay just like the teachings, just like this is the secret teachings that were Atlantean time, and then they were brought from the desert into the desert, from Egypt into the Middle East. So we as souls were responsible for keeping track and keeping safe this information. And when we made contracts to hide and protect, isolate and protect and hide this information, we also made contracts with ourselves to isolate and hide ourselves. So this is what we've been working through, and the incredible blocks that the brave supernova souls had to overcome to show up in person in Montana together. And what a beautiful and powerful exchange of energies, compassion, love, understanding. And that is a healthy organism. That organism is ready to start building something new. That's why we've done all this work, and it's time to come together. And it's so beautiful. We got the message that every single person that came to this event this weekend the only way they were really able to make it there is because of the powerful connection between our group. And so when we use that powerful connection through our group to access the records of the Akashic records, that's when we get the power. Now, all of this is speaking to, so basically breaking through the threshold into our full access to our higher intuitive abilities is the only way we get to the other side, where we really access the support that's available to us, that we really know and receive that inheritance. So we're working with the authority within our own being. At the same time, we've got the mother's authority landing home, the authority of love, the authority of alignment, the authority of life-giving, life-serving, life-protecting. That's her law. That's what goes on Earth now. Now that she has been claimed back, her army stood up and made the prayers and said the statements of love to all the waters deep in the earth that we joined together this weekend. Now, this is the thing that we found about the feminine and about the waters, because the waters are feminine. The waters seem to be talking to the waters the same voice as talking to the mother. Now, when we were realizing this, talking about this, we're talking about the feminine and how difficult it's been for us to come back to the love, to the support that's available in a connection with Mother Earth and the Divine Feminine. So we are exploring how to open our hearts back up again. And that's everything that's going on with our permission to come back together and permission to come into our higher technology. So this kite shape that Mercury is making, the sun just made and Mercury is making now, we'll be feeling for the next 3 days, is activating all of these aspects that we're talking about: our worthiness, our fear of our own power, overcoming the fear of our own power, finding our permission within our being to release ourselves into that higher dimensional reality where we are supported. They're like, finally, you guys made it. We've been waiting for you, and we could not go down and get you. We had to wait for you to rise, to come, to yearn. And that's what's allowed you to do all this work that has made you so healthy. I know we felt broken and just like picking up the pieces of ourselves, picking up the pieces of our lives after difficult earth lives and difficult this life and past lives of persecution, rejection, abandonment. We're putting ourselves together, and wow, what a beautiful gift. That supernova soul is, who has been to hell and back and can sit there and be in the place of receptive compassion. So this is the feminine. The feminine responds. The loving mother always responds. And this is where we've had this massive breach and separation from our mother through programming and trauma drama programming and catastrophe programming, disconnecting us from feeling safe and loved and held. Turns out, we're finding out through these past life readings that every single catastrophe that has had a lot of deaths, man-made, off-planet weapons, directed energy weapons, we got to take back our loving mother. She's here. She's been waiting for us. She's waking up. And she also feels vulnerable. She also feels unloved, unheard, and unacknowledged. You know, we go back to that noodle experiment that Michiko did, and the noodles that were given positive attention, then negative attention, and then ignored. And the most rot, the most mold was grown on that one that was ignored. And that's what the waters are telling us. Like, dance with me, play with me, talk to me. You are with me. They're in your body. You wash and you play in these waters every day. And why don't you talk to me? And so this is what we did this weekend. We talked to her and we talked to the waters. And the water always responds. Our subconscious always responds to whatever we tell it. We tell it those lies. This is how we got trapped in those stories, right? We kept loop and creating that again and again and again. And it's like this last couple months, it's been like, whoa, all the loops and all the things. But we could see that the patterns had to arise for us to release ourselves from the patterns. And that can be a difficult place where you're like, oh no, here it goes again. Same story. And it's hard not to fall into the energy. But we have to understand that we're playing our way out of it. So we have to play it out. The story gets us out of the story. So when you can be really present and always keep in mind that these things that are playing out don't have anything much to do with present time. They're past life stuff that hasn't been resolved. And it's trying to find a way to work out. It's like the universe is arranging right now to release and expunge and purge karma between us. That take these opportunities that show up before you to step into those fires, to be in the energy of compassion and forgiveness and understanding for yourself and for others. It's a really, really intense time. And I think we're really going to be coming to that place where just existing is so powerful that, and it's moving so much energy. We're having that purge, this detox. This is what's going on because we've got Mars in square to Black Moon Lilith right now. Mars in Cancer, Black Moon Lilith in Libra. So the darkness is coming up. And so if you can be like, okay, there it is, but I got to play the story. I got to play the game to get out of the game. I got to see the story. I got to play out the story. And if you could just be present, right? The best way to play out a karmic story is, of course, if we can be silent. It's hard. I know I get really feisty when I'm trying to protect myself and my creations, because we've just built beautiful thing after beautiful thing a healing opportunity. So much of what came through our reading this weekend was about the Renaissance and the new Renaissance and how we're all artists and writers and talented, incredibly talented, creative people that this has been cut off within us. And in order to get back to our spiritual path and access our creative energy, we've got to activate to be creative. Our spiritual path is now to be creative in the new Renaissance. So it's very powerful. And that energy is also feminine. And so when we are receptive and we're loving and we slow down, and instead of putting our 2 cents out there, just being silent, wait for it to come to you, wait for, and it will show itself. Sometimes we'll go react and then we're like in the wrestle of the energies. And if you can just be like, all right, not that you don't want to, we don't want to roll over like we've always done and let them chew us up and spit us out, right? We're not doormats anymore. We're standing in the authority of the mother's love. And so you can just stand in it. You can just be in it. You don't actually have to say anything. She does it. I've seen this again and again and again. And then I'll go out and blurb my whatever I say. And I was like, wait a minute, she gets it out. The truth will be told is what she says. And that's a good mantra. If you're feeling confused, there's so much confusion, but behind the confusion is the confusion means the closer we are to the portal, to the goal, to the place where we're moving forward. And so remember that we're in this strange place where it's like the nightmare, the movie, the movie, and we can love ourselves, love the people around us, stop, have compassion for ourselves and others, and just let the story unwind. Let the mother, she says, I am the self-correcting force. Let me work in your life. You've got to learn to allow. So whatever that means for each of us, but it has to do with Uranus and Taurus. So Uranus is higher frequency vibration and higher technologies and that higher intuitive gifts. So if we're learning to receive and allow the wealth and abundance that we are, that's our higher intuitive gifts. And that's where we're so close to shifting to be impossible to stay in mental slavery. Not just us, but everyone, because we're all connected, And so it's such a powerful time. And so the main energy that we're feeling is this kite shape. And then the tension is coming from Mars square black moon Lilith. That was on the 21st and 22nd, but we'll also feel it for the next couple of days. And so we've got this beautiful kite speaking to owning our authority, popping up out of the programming of the matrix so that we can see on the other side of the veil and receive the help that's available to us. Now, this is what we got when we left this weekend. It was like, watch out for major, massive alignments and synchronicities. And it's so cool. They have tried to quarantine us, we saw, and, insight has come through in all different ways, like through this isolation, through our belief systems, our fear of our own power. But this is, we are accessing a new level here. And so the new timeline that feels like we've popped onto, that we need to learn to allow and receive, is also the timeline of our higher intuitive faculties coming online. So it was saying, be ready and watch out for major downloads, major synchronicities. And so people also, it feels like we managed to come together and have a beautiful and powerful experience. And now people are going all their separate ways back to where they came from, taking the supernova love like like spokes on a wheel and ripples out of the pond, And so that's why there's been so much resistance to events, because the events bring people together and then back home. And that ripple, they cannot keep us in micro quarantines, that was just an insight I saw recently. I was like, oh, it's like using our own dimensionality to keep us in micro dimensions different from each other. Why we haven't been able to connect and see each other, and our technology can't go through, and we're like, and we're just broken through that. So we're like, yeah, well, no, we can travel all the way through those dimensions. We're so much more powerful, and now we see beyond the veil. The thing is, if we see beyond the veil, we're going to see how much we've been manipulated, and we've got to clean it up. This is another thing the mother's saying. We don't get to just move forward. The wrongs of all the lifetimes in this whole evolution must be corrected. All the wrongs, all the persecution done to people, and the genocides, and the mistreatment. It's just all got to get made right. We can't just move forward. So this is our abundance that's coming, is the righting of the wrongs. And you were very wronged, over many lifetimes. And now it's time for you to be revered as the healer you are. Because when you show up in your peace and presence that you have earned, the compassion you have earned, the connection you have earned through all of your hard work, you are such an incredible gift. And you are going to have this feeling of satisfaction, being able to comfort someone who really needs it in this very strange time as we move forward. So there's definitely an energy of coming out of the caves, coming out of hiding, coming off the mountain, coming to be with the people, saying, hey, we're all in this together, and we can't resonate down, and we're going to choose deliberately this higher frequency and say yes and allow and take back the magic that's ours. And somehow, this is so hard to put into words, but that energy of taking that claim on your own autonomy and sovereignty by popping out of the matrix, seeing completely from the other side of the veil. So you will have insights to this. This means you're going to have communications come through, and guidance and understandings and downloads. And again, it comes back to all that rapid karmic clearing that's available that we want to take advantage of. So I think this is partly the activation of the South Node. We know that Mars just squared up with the nodes last week, and leading into that Pisces lunar eclipse. Very, very powerful. Whoa, complete rebirth, very close to Neptune, flying that kite saying, hey, no, we're going to go this direction now, Neptune. We're not going to control the wisdom, spiritual wisdom anymore, and keep it for the few and keep it from the masses. This is why it's your time to come out of hiding and isolation. Just like the teachings and the disclosures of our world, you're also getting disclosed. So get ready. Your life is going to be so different than you've ever imagined, and so beautiful. And we've got to be ready to step into this. And that's what this whole next 6 months of astrology is about. We're at eclipse season right now. We're coming up to the Libra solar eclipse. Very powerful. Wednesday, October 2nd, that happens at 10 degrees, 4 minutes of Libra, that new moon. And the nodes are at 6 degrees of Libra and Aries. And so not too far, only 4 degrees out of exact eclipse. And so this is a very powerful energy. And the sun will be not too far from the South Node there in Libra, as well as Mercury. So on the 29th, the sun will come to the South Node in Libra. It's 29th of September, and Mercury will come to the South Node on the 30th of September. Mercury will then come to Black Moon Lilith on the 2nd of October, and the sun on the 3rd of October. And the sun and Mercury come together on October 1st. The start of this October feels like the start of a whole new world in this astrology. It's so powerful. Now, we still have Pluto and Capricorn, and we still have all of our planets retrograde. All of our big planets are retrograde. So we're kind of have this feeling of getting nowhere fast, having to face the darkness, having to face the authority, having to face the limitations. And but what is going to happen is that Pluto turns direct on October 12th. Heading back into Aquarius. So game over. That evil doing and trauma drama just ain't gonna stick, because she's awake and alive and on fire and so beautiful. She's talking to us and loving us, and she says, let's come back into connection. Let's can this honey nectar of her love drip into your life, slow you down, help you feel loved and protected and supported. And so, but this South Node activation and Black Moon Lilith not too far from the South Node, for this eclipse season, it's saying we got some stuff to deal with from the past. The South Node is what's holding us back from the past. And the eclipses are about when the nodes of the moon line up, meaning the pathway, the elliptical orbit of the sun and the moon intercepting. And so the nodes of the moon have a karmic destiny, the way forward, what's holding us back, and an energy of lining up, timeline alignments. So maybe this is what's happening. We're in this mysterious time in between eclipses. And so these eclipses are all about cleaning up the darkness with all of these Black Moon Lilith transits. But we've also got the kite and Mars in Cancer. So Mars in Cancer is this warrior for the mother, this shift within ourselves of feeling this intimate pool of love and falling back in love and allowing ourselves to shift our whole vibration and reset our whole life according to feeling loved and cared for and supported by our loving Mother Earth. It's a whole different way to be. And those people are not controllable. So being loved and held and protected by Mother Earth is also the permission and the energy we need to move into our higher faculties, to claim our authority. And we'll see what comes forward about that. That's just starting to come through. But so we've got the Libra solar eclipse, and very powerful energies happening here for this eclipse, because we're going to have Mars in Cancer coming into trine with Saturn in Pisces. Now, this is the thing I was saying about looking at this fall and how much energy is going to shift, because Pluto turns direct on the 12th and then goes back into Aquarius on November 20th. And it'll be that when we have Mars and Cancer in trine to Saturn. This is on the 1st of October, but Saturn turns direct on the 16th of November. So we've got this incredibly powerful energy of Pluto going back into Aquarius and Saturn in Pisces turning direct at the same time, just a few days away from each other. And it's like, we know that the Saturn retrograde in Pisces, it went back to 12 degrees and will turn direct on the 16th, not till November. But that's when we rewrite the timeline. While it's retrograde, we're going back into the old stories. And the new stories can't unfold until it turns direct, but it turns direct just 4 days before Pluto moves into Aquarius for good. It's a very powerful message. It's our world now. It's our rules, her authority. We don't have to figure out what it means to be in alignment. We feel it. We know it. And we just have to go back to that archetype of what a loving mother would do. And that's respond. And that's what we do. We're there when someone needs us. And nobody's ever really been there for you. It's pretty profound to meet a group of people that are the ones that are there, because they're there, they're present, they're in their body. And it is a beautifully, beautiful, healthy platform, an organism to begin to build this new renaissance, this new world, this new reality. So really powerful. Now on the 1st of October, we've got Mars in square trine to Saturn. Mars in Cancer, warrior for the mother in trine to Saturn, getting ready to turn direct in November, but still retrograding back. And so this is a water trine energy, and it's very sweet. And so that Mars, the fighting for the mother, understanding where our loyalties lie, not with a false authority, with the true authority. And Saturn in Pisces, rewriting, reworking the Piscean age and our whole timeline, whole reality. It says, no, we do it by the mother's laws and rules. That's what this trine says. And it's so sweet. Then the sun and Mercury will take their turns. They go over each other on the 1st, the same day as Mars trine Saturn. The sun and Mercury will conjunct in Libra. And it's so powerful because going back to the Libra energy with the South Node in Libra, all of this stuff that's holding us back from the past and the lies and the delusions have to do with relationships. That's why it feels like we're at the place in the hero's journey. Pluto going back into Capricorn for the last time is saying this is when we realize on the hero's journey that we were betrayed. That we've been betrayed. And those we trusted the most, those we thought were on our team, and our spiritual leaders or political leaders and financial leaders and health leaders, we cannot trust them for our best interest because it has turned toe to the dark side, like genocide, poisoning. And the mother does not abide. No, we're not going to do it anymore. So we're also having a powerful opportunity to clean up our bodies. Mars transits always bring an opportunity for a lot of physical release. And I saw this really interesting. Every participant this weekend went through a period of time where they just went really down. They might have had some symptoms come up. They just were really tired. They had to just really rest and go down. And then they felt like $1,000,000. So just let yourself rest when you need to rest, because there's so much big, powerful changes happening in our field right now. And you are doing work beyond what you can imagine. And it's so powerful. And I hope that you feel the ripples of this. You're a part of this. Every supernova soul can benefit from the work we did this weekend. So thank you so much for your support, for being here, and for being a part of this movement and saying yes to allow the mother's help and support in this beautiful new world we're creating together. So we are starting to feel in the next couple days that Mars trine Saturn, and we'll feel it through the first week of October. And that is a really sweet energy. The Sun Mercury and Sun Mercury South Node, Sun Mercury Black Moon Lilith. And so Sun Mercury North South Node is the 29th and 30th at the very end of the month. And then Sun and Mercury Black Moon Lilith is the 2nd and 3rd of October. So we've got this very powerful spotlight and realization. The Sun Mercury is brilliant mind, brilliant realizations. And so brilliant realizations around shedding light on the dark, bringing the darkness to the surface, to be healed and cleared, right? We've got to see the pattern before we can heal the pattern. We've got to see the story before we can write a new story. And so it's such an intense and powerful time. So look out for the Libra solar eclipse. We will be doing an activation, full moon activation, and a new moon activation. That's Wednesday, October 2nd. And it feels like a definitive shift on that day, that solar eclipse, Libra solar eclipse with all the South Node. It's kind of a definitive thing of saying, we're not going to play by your rules anymore. We're not going to go by your authority anymore. We broke free. This is what it felt like for this event to happen this weekend. There was so much obstructing energies, and every single person was like, I don't know if I'm going to make it to this, and yet we did, and we stood, and we had an amazing experience, and we know that we have full permission now. We've broken the seal. We've broken through, and now we can just move forward and grow together and create and come together and do this sacred, amazing work. One of the things that we did this weekend was Qigong and moving the energy and the meridians in the body. And I had this really beautiful picture, those acupuncture points and meridians. And here we are at a very powerful vortex. We know we're called to these very powerful vortexes where we live. And so we're getting together and moving that chi at that place, at that vortex, at that acupuncture point of Mother Earth, and moving that meridian energy between the volcanoes, the underground waterways, sending the love, sending the heat, sending the power, sending the love and the healing. And so is this what's going on when we talk to the waters? And it's a very definitive no more line in the sand. We're not going to play along. with that agenda of trauma, drama, and all of that old Piscean age story. So it's very exciting, and know that it's intense time, but at the same time, we're at the precipice, we're at the edge. It's all turning around. Pluto's not going to go back into Capricorn. And so we want to use this opportunity to set ourselves completely free, right? To win our freedom. We win our freedom by saying yes and opening up and exercising our higher faculties. It's very, I'm not sure exactly what this entails, but it's a really great timing for the 6th and 7th chakra installments of owning your energetic field. We're going to be looking at the intuitive faculties in the third eye and also the crown chakra over the next few weeks. And it's a really great, because we want to use this last bit of Pluto and Capricorn to know completely in our being that we can handle our power and technology and just start using it. They've told us it's wrong, bad, and dangerous, but it's actually blissful and magic and beautiful and abundant. The thing about learning about the primary water this weekend and going deep into this is the ultimate thing about the primary waters. They don't want us to know this primary water system. They only want us to know about the atmospheric water system. And the primary water system, if we're talking and communicating with the primary water, we can bring those waters up to harmonize any weather and to fertilize the fields and to bring forward the healing power and to bring water to the desert. This is abundance. This is the evidence of Mother's abundance. If we can't see it in our everyday life, but you're going to start to feel it. You can be like, just stop and breathing in. There's a very high frequency vibrations. Now, let's go back to this about the Mars and the physical body and Mars square Black Moon Lilith and what might be coming up there. So I've talked a lot, I mention often about this nanotech that has been infected in our bodies, and that we all have to live, we've been called to live a detox lifestyle to try to deal with this parasitic nanotechnology. The energy I got around this really strong message from the mother was that if that nanotech was not there, you would now be able to regenerate your body. If there's anything going on. I saw this picture of like us being able to scan our own body and ask that it come into pure and total health. And we have the technology. We're at the level to do this right now, but the nanotech in our body is preventing it. If it wasn't there, we would be regenerating our body, which means we're done with aging and mortality in the way that we have lived. And this is the deep mysteries, those mysteries that we're talking about, that we as a people brought from ancient Atlantean time to Egypt to the Middle East, and we're guardians and protectors of this information and these technologies. And it's this cellular regeneration. We have to remember that Yeshua's healings, Yeshua's miracles were healings. That's what brought the attention to him. The miracle is the healing. And are you saying yes to the healing of the waters in your body so Mother's waters can heal? To release these resistances and toxicities. So this is a big energy with Mars square Black Moon Lilith, especially over the next few days. And then Mars will be coming into trine with Saturn, and just this beautiful turning of the wheel of time. We're not going to do it that way anymore. This is the winning, the definitive winning back of our planet. This is Mother's laws and rules again. That's the energy of this Mars trine Saturn. And that is from the 26th to the 7th of October. So really soak up these beautiful energies, because that's the message I got. I was like, we are paying attention to these sextiles, to the kites, to the beautiful things behind the scenes, not letting the squabbling of the day-to-day reality distract us from the magic and the miracles, because we got this. If we're going to clean up the Piscean age and we're going to clean up the traumas, we must also reclaim the miracles and the magic. And now it sounds like that's healing. So breathe it in. Breathe in this breath of life, breathe in the waters. She says you can bring in all the nutrition and hydration you need by breathing with me in consciousness. So that's very, very powerful. And so we've got a little bit more of the kite shape and a little bit more of Mars square Black Moon Lilith. And then we're going to move into that Sun, Mercury, South Node, Black Moon Lilith energy and all of that on the one side in Libra, while the North Node is in Aries. So it's highlighting that North Node because we've got South Node, Sun, Mercury, and Black Moon Lilith. And it's saying, this is what needs to, we're putting a spotlight on what needs to be dealt with in order to move forward into our autonomy. In Aries wants freedom and autonomy. And so in order to move forward in our freedom and autonomy, we've got to look at this deep, dark truths around where we've been betrayed by those we trusted the most. It's like the hero's journey that I was talking about in the story, where the team, the council, the leaders, the teachers, the group, like, those was like, then, the darkness, the infiltration, and then the manipulation and those forces. So right when you're getting close to your goal, that's always when you're going to get the most distraction and the most interference. And so we are overcoming this stage and knowing that the closer you get to the portal, the harder it is it's more confusing it gets. And that's where we've been. We're dancing around. And then mom says, can you dance with me? Can you be like the water? And roll with it. Receive, be in your feminine where you're receiving and you're responding. Right? So this is like our masculine says, let's take action, let's do this. And then the feminine says, let's respond. And so can we respond before we take our next step? That is the divine feminine coming back into our world and our life. Respond before you take the next step. It's not an easy one, right? But that is just this powerful, powerful compassion that she brings us. And that's the energy of the Sun, Mercury, brilliant realizations about the darkness in relationships that's been holding us back. So if you're still hanging on to a toxic relationship when you're not being treated as the gift that you are, it's going to be probably falling apart. And what a beautiful opportunity to bring in the energy of the SuperNova relationship. That's just on fire and beautiful and just so appreciative of each other, so honoring of each other, so understanding of each other, so compassionate with each other's quirks and issues and dealers, because we're all just trying to be conscious and aware, and it's set us up for a beautiful future, supernovas. It's going to be so different and it's going to be so beautiful. We're tapping into that abundance. And we're saying that abundance is ours. Mother Earth's abundance is the inheritance of those who are loyal and in alignment with her warriors, her children. It's ours. And that's this turning of the table, turning of the tides. It's got to come back. It's got to come back to us, what was stolen. And we must receive it with grace. That's a huge thing. What if somebody, we've been stolen from again and again. And this is what's happening too with our mortgage companies, our credit card companies, our banks, fees. It's like they're just raping us till the cows come home until we figure out how much they are not working for us, but working for them. And we say, no, we're not going to do that money system. Speaking of the money system, very powerful message came through. We don't need any AI. We don't need any AI system to run this reality. We don't need it. So this is the other part of the story where they want to trap you right as you're exiting. That's when they want to trap you back in, right? That's like maybe a reincarnation loop, and this is the energy of releasing, finally giving ourselves permission to be free, be autonomous, handle ourselves, and live the life we're meant to live, coming back together, doing the working on these projects we came here to work on. We can't do it by ourselves. We only have one piece of the puzzle, and it's gotten so frustrating for ourselves. And now we're clearing those contracts of isolation and hiding, just like the teachings and the technology. And that isolating and hiding, the hiding of the technology, hidden so deep, you can't even see your own technology and the gifts and the power and all the wealth that you have. That's the true inheritance and the true abundance of the Aquarian age, is your higher intuitive gifts and skills, healing ability. It'd be pretty fun, like we are the med bed. We can just help people regenerate if they're ready and want to. Once they cleanse the nanotech, we're taking it back. We're taking back the mother's body one by one. So thank you so much for all your hard work, doing so much, all you've done to be at the place of health. And it might feel like you're falling apart and you're barely keeping it together, and but you are so healthy. You're such a badass, and you've gone through so much, and it's made you into such a gift. Thank you so much for being here and being you. And I look forward to hopefully seeing you at that Libra solar eclipse activation, and where it's a definitive shift on that day, it feels like, where we've got that Libra solar eclipse will be happening right next to Black Moon Lilith. And so I think Black Moon Lilith will be at 10 degrees exactly. And so a solar eclipse is the sun and the moon together, and this energy of lining up that we're talking about, timeline alignment. And so maybe that's what this next week is about as we move into this final eclipse of the season. And then we're looking at this 6-month period of time. And during the 6-month period of time, we got another Mercury retrograde. Well, first we have to wait for Pluto to get back into Aquarius and Saturn to turn direct, and all our planets turn direct. That's November. Then we've got Mars turning retrograde. Well, we've got a Mercury retrograde starting at the end of November, and that resolves on the 3rd of January. So that's going to be Mars and Mercury both retrograde. Mars turns retrograde on the 7th of December. So they'll overlap in their retrogrades, and that'll be a really slow time, but it's a slow time anyway, that time of year. And this is an initiation time, a rehabilitation time, a healing time, a preparation time. And so the Mercury, there's another Mercury retrograde that does not resolve. Mercury comes out of shadow on April 26th, and then Mars comes out of shadow on May 5th. So we're not really going to be able to move forward on our new timeline that we just jumped on. Like, we can't really make it work for us because we got to figure out the machinery. We got to get oriented. We've got to go through a training. I guess this is our initiation on this new technology we just got downloaded. That's how we claim our authority. Is claim our higher faculties. So we've got to overcome the fear and the programming and step into the bliss of this creative consciousness of living and knowing that you are consciousness. This is what life is supposed to be like for advanced souls. Ecstatic existence. And we're living just barely making it through, but we're putting ourselves back together, and we've done so much healing, and it's looking good for us. This great foundation to move into the future. So thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you next week for that Libra solar eclipse, Libra new moon activation, and a new start for relationships. So it's leaving behind all the toxicity and lies we've been telling ourselves in our relationships that are keeping us in the old patterns, and opening up our heart to love. Again, learning to receive. It's hard to receive when you've only gotten attack and rejection. And yet we're such good receivers, We are good at responding. We're healers. We are mamas. We are warriors for her. We're the midwives. We're the speakers of truth, the politicians and the spiritual leaders that held those truthful principles through the dark times. Thank you so much, Supernova Souls. I can't wait for the righting of wrongs, the turning of the tables, and the return of the wealth to the people. It's the only way forward. And yet, we're thinking of money as wealth, but we're returning of wealth to the people. It's really our inheritance. We're mom saying it's our higher faculties, and we can just step into that right now, anytime we're ready. Is it like that? Stepping up, almost like an escalator to that level. You're finally ready, coming up, and resonate at the abundance paradigm. It takes a lot of overhaul because we've been programmed in such scarcity. But very, very powerful times. And I look forward to connecting with you, hopefully for that Libra new moon activation. Thank you so much for your support. And I look forward to seeing you then on the next update. And thanks for being such great, powerful rock star supernova souls. I look forward to connecting with you soon. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.